A 1 2, a 1 2, 1 2, and we are live. Let me click out this other pod I'm willing and dealing on. Check the flavor. We live. We are live. All right, so about to get ready to hit this versus battle. People who don't know, the versus battle about to go in. Let me check some audio real quick because got some stuff split up. A man in Tennessee has 30. Okay, we good. Yeah, so we lit then. All right, and let me go ahead. Got there. Then let me go ahead and okay, got the YouTube chat over here. So I'm at home. Microphone. I'm gonna have a delay, so I'm gonna have to go do this. All right, so I guess we're gonna get right into it. For the most part, we're dealing with the versus battle. The versus battle of men versus women. So we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna go ahead and from the jump. Uh, we have a man that is in Tennessee. This young man in Tennessee, he technically is holding the ranks out here to where he has 30 kids. I talked about this the other day on the Roger Report. This guy got 30 kids. And ultimately, the funny part is, with the 30 kids, he actually got 11 baby mamas. So if we dealing with that scenario, you have 30 kids, 11 baby mamas, and the report is the guy's only 33 years old. So at the age of 33, struggling with 30 kids. Now the crazy part, back in 2009, it said he was struggling with 21 kids. Now they rendered, he has 9 more kids with 11 baby mamas. So technically speaking, if everybody can do the math, this guy has literally, some maybe one, some are two, but I know it's a lot of ones, but most of them baby mama got 2 and 3 kids. Cause 11 and 30, you're gonna be doing a lot of multiplying, a lot of using your fingers, subtracting and adding, you know. And this guy, I'm just gonna go ahead and roll the clip and we'll start from there. 3 children with 11 different women, and he is 33 years old. Now, according to CNN affiliate WREG, he is now begging the state to help him pay his child support. I want to bring back in Sunny Hostin. She's on the case with us as always. And Sunny, I know, I know some of the moms are only getting a couple of dollars a month for child. Yeah, it's rough. Support in and of itself. Do you actually think the state is going to say, okay, buddy, you got 30 kids, we're going to help you?
I don't think so. I got to tell you, Brooke, you and I talk about a lot of things on this program, and I am rarely stumped.
It's don't have much to say, for you.
But it's a stump moment for me. I mean, I can talk to a wall, and I don't know what to say about this guy. I mean, the bottom line is, in Tennessee, when he's working his minimum wage job, he is supposed to give 50% of his paycheck to the 11 women that he fathered these children with, and they're supposed to divide it equally. The problem is some of the women are only getting $1.49 because he does work minimum wage. So just this week, he appeared in court, and he's asking the court to give him a break on those payments, on the $1.49 that he's giving to help support his children. I don't think that the judge is going to help him out, and I was reading recently that one of the news reports said that perhaps he needs to now do the cost benefit analysis of
And that's the crazy part. This guy literally, some of his baby mamas are getting paid $1.49 a month. So literally, is it worth it to take him to court for $1.49? Well, oh my bad, got the mic over here. I'm just saying, when it come down to it, $1.49, is it worth it? You know, it's just crazy, man. What's going on, underrated? Oh yeah, I forgot I was supposed to be highlighting because I'm trying to keep to the business. But yeah, man. When it come down to it, 30 kids. Most of the baby moms $1.49, and most of the women who have more than one kid $5 a month. And Tennessee law says that he only can give up to half of his paycheck. You know, so that's the crazy part going into that. And let me go ahead and play some more for this. I skipped a little more, and we're gonna after we deal with him, we're gonna go to the next candidate on in.
No.
You're done.
I'm done. I said I'm done.
What made you decide that?
I didn't intend to have this many. It just happened.
It just happened, he says. Is this a trend? Do we believe him that he'll stop?
Let's hope it'll stop. I mean, bottom line is the state can't force him to stop. It's not against the law to have all of these children. And again, maybe he.
Now, just like they said, it's not against the law for him to, have these kids like that. They can't force him to stop having these kids. But, in this space, we always focusing on, the men doing what they doing and the women doing what they doing. Now, some of the women I can understand they maybe got tricked or something like that, but that what comes with vetting processes. You start talking to the guy, you go on a date with this guy. Of course, some of these baby mamas are gonna pop up in the process to the point where it's gonna be too many calls. I mean, he can only hide so much, and this where it comes into play, where you start vetting a lot of people, listening to them, seeing what they got to say. So far as the women understanding, this man got 30 kids. He got 11 baby mamas. So multiple kids with some of these women. So if this guy wasn't take care of the first one, why are you going back? I mean, it's all evidence to know why they're going back. I mean, if I gotta say it, that means you need to cut off the computer or cut off your phone and go to bed. You know, it's it's already known. But to the point, just like this, we're gonna go to the next story. And like I said, this is versus battle. So now we're going to the next versus candidate in this versus battle. And you can be the judge of this one. All right, get this mic set up and there we go.
Of this, meaning that someone needs to pay for all of her children and the hardships that they were facing at that particular time. That didn't go well with many people in the United States and around the world. People gave her so much hate mail for that. People started calling her welfare queen. I mean, they let this lady have it. Now, a couple of months ago, Angel Adams and her husband, Eric Brown, are back in court, and they now have a total of 17 biological children.
Yep, so you've heard it. 17 kids. That is crazy. 17. And yeah, one lady, 17 kids. I think 10 by one guy, believing in the story. He went to prison. So technically speaking, the guys in prison, you know, who's helping take care of the babies? You know, the little kids. She ended up getting another man. And I don't know if all of them kids are from that man, but totally speaking, she got those kids, and as of right now, she's in a relationship with a guy. And I'm gonna play the next part of the clip so you can get an understanding of this part as well, like what she's dealing with.
Somebody needs to be held accountable, and they need to pay.
When I first met Angel, she was living in a one-bedroom motel. 12 of her children were sharing just 2 beds, and Angel demanded that someone pay for her to move into a new house. With the help of the Department of Children and Families, Angel moved into a new home. But when someone posted stories about her on YouTube, she became internationally famous as an example of what is wrong with the welfare system in America. Angel doesn't care that people across the country hate her.
That's okay because they don't know me.
Now Angel and her husband are back in trouble and back in court.
Our lights go on, they go off. They go on, they go off.
Angel is facing eviction from her home, and her power has been turned off because they owe nearly $600 in back payments. Angel told the judge she used a check from the Tampa Housing Authority that was to pay for the power bill to pay instead to evacuate her children during Hurricane Irma.
And I used it for my children to evacuate for the Irma hurricane. When they told us to get out, I used that money to evacuate and get my children where they needed to be.
The judge told Angel and her husband the bill is theirs to pay.
You're asking me to make an agency pay money above and beyond what they committed to pay, and I don't have that authority.
And so Angel is facing eviction once again from this home. The landlord has not been paid rent in 3 months, and Angel is wondering where now to turn.
My children are hungry. My children are afraid. My children are cold. My children can't function in school. My children, they're not doing very well at all.
Yeah, the Tampa Housing Authority is working.
Now we come to the situation where she's talking about her kids not being able to be taken care of. Hold on. Right. That's fun. I didn't know you didn't have a wrench, right? But that's the crazy part. That's a lot of kids. And she was complaining about the kids being able to not having the point of actually having food. And let me go ahead and try to share the screen real quick so you can see. I'm just going to show this real quick. Now, if you see right there in the back, you see all the Kool-Aid, looks like Pop-Tarts, coffee, all this stuff has been donated and everything. But as it stands, like I said, you hear her talking about how, you know, her kids are suffering, they hungry and all this. They got the snacks. I mean, far as food wise, the snacks and all probably was donated. You know, the food, it's just misbudgeting of the money. You know, even with transporting her kids during that storm, she could have had a church ministry help her, you know, if she's into the church. But the crazy part is all the money that she had to pay her bills, she was looking at it more or less to move probably like 80%. I'm thinking because she's very irresponsible. So at least 80% of probably that money, she did something else with it. I mean, being honest. I mean, that's just my opinion. And like I said, my opinion alone. So you have two people. The man with 30 kids, you know, 11 baby mamas. And this woman, she has 17 kids, far as I know, and counting 2 dudes, maybe more, but from the story, it's just 2 dudes was confirmed. So both of them are irresponsible. So you have a lot of guys and a lot of women in the space. They always point the finger. The men are doing this, the women are doing this. In both situations, this woman kept having kids and she couldn't take care of them. She was blaming the government and somebody else to help her raise her kids. Now you got the guy who's going to court. He's going back and forth to the court trying to get them to reduce the payments, saying that he didn't know he was going to have this many kids, 30 kids. This is the thing that I keep on saying in this space. If you have sex, it's a 50-50 chance you're going to have a baby, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman. So it amazes me to get the responses of a lot of people saying, I've heard Concrete Rose and Sister George panel earlier. I was just on, and my boy Mark Nash on. Shout out to Mark Nash. But when it came down to it, it was just crazy. All the people in this space, majority of the men, they say that the women are reckless. This young man is reckless. He's not the majority of the men. Once again, we don't speak in absolutes. So for all the men that, want to come around and, bash my channel and talk junk, understand, I guess I got the name of Pookie. That's Pookie nickname certified over here. So I don't care what they say. And then you got the women doing it too. So both of us are doing the same. Both of us are coming out with results. And for one, I blame that young man for the most part because he ultimately kept willing and dealing, kid after kid, baby after baby, and didn't stop. The lady had 17 kids in all. After the 10 kids, before your man went to jail, she should have cut it off. She should have stopped. And to be matters even worse, that people, if they wasn't listening, she stayed in a lodge, a 2-bed lodge, and the kids were sleeping on the bed. So assuming she was either sleeping on the floor or somewhere else. But the kids had the bed. All 10 of the kids started off and then ended up being 17. The manager at the hotel called defects because it was just too many kids running in and out. She didn't work because she had to sit there and take care of the kids. So who was paying the monthly or weekly rate on that hotel? Then when she got a house through the city and they were able to help her get on her feet, look at that situation, And the situation where they were trying to let her keep her kids, in my opinion, she time and time again kept trying to push off on the system as she need help, somebody need to help, but all the while she wasn't, putting herself to blame, saying I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, as well as the man. So you heard him say that when it came down to it, he didn't expect to have this many kids, but it never stopped him from having sex. After at least, I would say, about maybe 5 or 6, I would start being hesitant about sleeping with all these other women and probably just focus on one woman. If I'm going to have a whole bunch of kids with one woman and she fertile like that, okay, we good. I'm taking care of the kids. Everything's okay. But for me to keep running around like that and keep doing what you're doing, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, to be honest, that is crazy. Even with the woman at her standard, and the crazy part is she ain't working. Who filing for them kids? She probably getting a little bit here and there off the kids being filed for, but I mean, is it really worth all that when it come down to it? But like I said, you got the man that's doing his thing. You got the woman that's doing her thing. You know, both of them don't want to hold themselves accountable for their actions. So in return, you know, you have a lack of guidance. You have a lack of training. You know, it it was down the line, you know. And in return, if those kids are not properly taught, then they're going to repeat the cycle. No, this is the biggest thing within the community we see repeated cycles. You know, the men ultimately come in, their dad, you know, their dad could be staying in the house or not, you know, and staying with the mom. And it kills me when guys always say that single mother stuff. You got dudes that stay in the house that the women run over the house, you know, make sure your mama happy. You know, make sure, you know, you treat your mama right. Make sure this, make sure that. You got guys that are literally, you know, not even dealing with the moms in that fashion because probably ultimately they scared of her or something. You know, she run the house, she wear the pants, and ultimately, if he say something, he get popped in the mouth. That's what happens in some cases. For the people that's following in, go ahead and hit that like button. And the crazy part is when you willing and dealing in that aspect, of course that's what's gonna happen. You know, you have the women as well, you know, they deal with these guys on the premise of trying to find things from them. Oh, also wanted to go into this. I was listening to a pod and there was a woman, she was complaining about her situation with the guy not paying money. And this was the craziest thing ever when she broke down the story. So I'm just gonna get pretty much break it down pretty quick. She was dealing with a man, you know, ultimately they were on and off friends, you know, they were pretty much friends, on and off messing around. It came to a decision, you know, after noticing that she was pregnant, she came to the guy, asked the guy, was he gonna be in the child life? And the guy soon, you know, pretty much said yes. He said he was gonna help out and everything. One thing led to another, and ultimately wasn't there for the child. She was mad, tried to take him to court, you know, and the craziest thing, upon her being pregnant, 3 months into the pregnancy, or what was it? 3 months after she got the baby, 3 months after she had the baby, a guy came into the child's life, started helping her with the child, and she was pursuing child support from the baby daddy. You know, they wasn't in a relationship. They didn't agree to have a child. So technically speaking, you know, we use the term oops baby. That's what happened. You know, the child was an oops baby. And when it came down to it, the mother ultimately was trying to, as it was distinctively put, that she was trying to control him. She went in to the court, tried to get child support. The child support was $150 a month. So if the guy had a job that was $75 every 2 weeks, ultimately what, $35? Well, that's 70. So yeah, about 37 and some change a week. So pretty much ultimately she sit there 37.50. She pretty much ultimately argued this man down for that little bit of money. She would take off her job, depending on where she worked, you know, made some money, to the point where she was literally taking off work every time he didn't pay to try to go down there and force the court to lock him up. And when the situation was broken down, that the guy was she was forcing herself to go down there to get him locked up. It was more of a control mechanism, to the point where she wanted him to go to jail because he wasn't paying. She wanted the system to punish him because he wouldn't listen to her. He wouldn't pay the money. So ultimately it was the punishment through the system. And when she couldn't get that, she was mad. And when it came down to it, you know, the situation was just all jealousy. When it came down, it was just nothing but jealousy. She wanted this man to do what she say do when she say do it, and ultimately come down to the point, you know, with the women, like I always say, The women get in their feelings. See, when a woman gets in her feelings, it's natural, but when a man gets in his feelings, that's why I hit it with the Maxwell. Because understanding women get in their feelings because they're very emotional. Some women can control it, some women can't. You know, when you treat them wrong, you do something to them, that's what happens. Because, like I say, in most cases, guys don't understand. Most women are just selfish. They want what they want. There's nothing wrong with being selfish. You know, if you want something, you're gonna get it. You're gonna try to get it. There's nothing wrong with that. I know that. Pretty much they know that. A lot of guys don't know that. So when they tend to deal in relationships and get mad when a woman is selfish, you can't blame that woman for her nature in which she want. If she wants something and she knows you can provide it for her, she's gonna want to have it at all costs, to the point. And men that act very emotional. I understand, man. I don't play that you was raised by a single mother. No, that's you. You feeling that type of way. That's you. You was raised that way. You can have a dad in the house and you can still be emotional guy. You can have a guy, your dad that's tough, been in the military, give you whoopings for days, toughen you up, punching you in the chest. Ultimately, when you get to a certain point in life, it gets soft. If you haven't, got that, little gushy emotion out of you, at a certain time, in which most men they start to, tend to, move a little different as they get older, it's gonna always be there. So it is what it is. Same thing with the females. I'm not giving no females a pass on that relationship. She had 17 kids, you know, like I said, and counting, with 2 guys, and the young man had 30 kids with 11 women. The women took an L on both sides. You know, in one instance, the guy who had 10 kids by her, I can honestly say, at least both of them stuck together on that. He dealt with her with the 10 kids, you know, but on the other side, with the guy, he had 30 kids with 11 women, he took a L on that aspect. So when we start pointing fingers at women being this way, men being this way, ultimately, I'm going back to the same standard point. As men, if you're going to be in a relationship, get in a relationship, vet these women, see how they are, get married, start a family, build generational wealth, buy income, starting a business, getting life insurance, because ultimately, Dr. St. Q, what's going on now? Ultimately, when you get life insurance, you're pushing the narrative of generational wealth. When you're not getting life insurance, you're passing on the debt. And that's like one of the biggest things that I've always told people. When you don't get some type of life insurance, you're passing on debt to your kids, because who's going to bear you at what cost? If your kids don't have any money, they don't have successful jobs, you haven't brought them up in a way to manage their money. I've always referred this to one of my family members. One of my family members, they currently are not working. 5 years ongoing right now. One of my family members is not working. He hasn't worked in 5 years. His mother owned her own store when he was younger. His sister, coming up when I was in school, she was in school. Her dad worked for a company to the point where she got supplies and stuff for school. She started her own supply business, and she was selling supplies to the teachers, selling supplies to the kids. They had a business mindset, knew how to handle money because it was in their household. Their mom went to college. She had an education. She did communications, but she also knew finance. So until she taught her son. Her son is a good steward of his money. Like I said, the guy hasn't worked in 5 years. How many of us now can take off work for 6 months and not have any issues, no hiccups? And for the people that's funny, He still hasn't even touched his 401k, which he's turned into an IRA and growing. He's putting money into that each month. And he's paying his bills. He has a car note. He's splitting bills with his wife for their home. So, in good standing. This guy doesn't have life insurance, to be honest, but he has his IRA that he can transfer if need be to actually take care of the family. You know, when it comes down to it, you got to understand generational wealth is the key. When you're not passing on generational wealth, you're actually passing on debt, you know, and that's one of the biggest things that I always try to tell people, far as, you know, when you have kids. If you don't have kids, this is another frame of mind to think about. Building your own wealth for yourself. Because who's going to take care of you when you get sick? If you have family members and everything, that's cool. But if you don't have family member that's going to help take care of you when you get sick, guess what's going to be your next option? Your money. Your money will be implemented on getting nurses, you know, someone to come watch out for you. You know, you're paying. They have websites to where you can hire people to come sit with you. They don't, you know, most of them are not even just nurses. They're just sitters. That's their job, to come sit with you. Preferably, you will want a nurse to where if something happens to you, they'll be able to administer certain things, you know, as far as CPR and, you know, other medical needs. But the sitters are pretty much people that are just, you know, there for comfort, you know, phone call away from the paramedics, you know, if need be. But the point of it is, if you're going to be single, you know, have the mindset on making the money to help take care of yourself. You know, I've heard this pastor once say, most people spend all their time trying to get money in their young age. And as they get older, they spend all their money trying to get their health back. So that's one of the key things, taking care of yourself. As Gold Professor always speaks in the 9 laws of self-govern, rule number 3, apply selfishness. You have to worry about yourself. Even in relationships. Me, I'm married. I apply selfishness sometimes because I have to understand when it comes to me actually going out here working, making money for my family, I got to make sure I'm good. Because if I'm not good, guess what? The family might not be good. So that's a rule of thumb. When it comes down to the aspect of Gold Professor standard on the 9 laws of self-govern, rule number 1, apply discipline. I have to be disciplined in certain things that I'm doing. I have to understand that my health, the way it is now, the older I get, the more weight is going to come on. It's going to be harder to come off. So I have to eat certain things properly, not being able to just pig out on what I want to eat just because. So as it stands, you know, people need to grasp the concepts, you know, working together, working with the men, working with the women. If you're not going to work with each other, it shouldn't be no mudslinging. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off with this, but when it boils down to it, men in this space, if you're not gonna get married, focus on your money. It's okay that we understand that these women are doing what they're doing, but we shouldn't have 15 and 20 shows a day about how bad the women are, how they need to change, and no one's putting out videos on helping the youth, focusing on the aspect of getting money. You know, talking about life insurance, talking about stocks, crypto, something that's going to benefit more or less than just the daily, you know, gossip. Because to me, at the end of the day, all we're doing is wishing for the women to change. When they want to change, they will. You know, sometimes you have to put a little fire to the feet. They'll change, and not no physically, but figuratively. If majority of the women stop getting married, guess what's going to happen? They're going to wonder why. If majority of the men are not dealing with women of their liking because the women of their liking are also doing the same thing, they're going to start wondering why. And from another aspect, the dudes that want to get married, vet these women properly, man. Don't marry a woman for her looks and she can't cook and clean and you complain every day. Don't deal with her. You know, that's one of the biggest things. A lot of guys in this space, I always push this. There's either two types of guys in the space. Guys that have been hurt by women, and they call those the red pill guys. And you have the guys that generally just can't talk to women. So understanding if you can't talk to women, there's a lot of channels that can help you with that aspect. You know, BGS talks about it. The rejection part is the biggest part of most women not being able to talk to women. The rejection. Once you get over the rejection is easy. I seen a panel one time where it was a video where a guy had to give 12 roses out to women. The first, say 8 said no. He got the first one off. He still wasn't that comfortable. After the 4th rose or the 5th rose, he was so cool. He started complimenting them as he were giving the rose to him, or kind of wooing them with the rose being so lovely. He didn't know how to come to them, talk to them. All he said was, "You want a rose?" They said no. Walked away. As it got on, he started saying, "Here's a rose for the beautiful lady." His confidence level started coming up. Ultimately, with the men who have been hurt, don't wheel and deal in relationships, man. It's only going to get worse. And this applies to the women as well. You've been hurt. Stay to yourself. It benefits you. So you won't make the mistake of having 17 kids. You keep trying to find love. You got to start looking in the mirror if you keep getting a lot of bad relationships. There's a guy by the name of Zoe Williams. I watched him several years, and he has a book called The Holographic Relationship. And it talks about the inners of you, like you're a reflection of yourself. You might not say, "I'm an abusive person," but I keep willing and dealing with men that are abusing me. It might not be that, you're an abusive person, but your reflection is that. I've told people, and myself included, that if something is, just bringing so much bad energy, it's time to clean house. It's time to change things up. You can't keep living the same, but and expecting different results. There are a lot of people in life, they hope and wish that life would get better. You can hope and wish all you want, but if you generally don't really try to, do the right thing as far as the aspect of taking care of yourself, you're going to always keep getting the same results. So, understanding with that, you want to change up. You want to be better. You want to do better. And from that standpoint, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get off. But, just in general, like I say, try to build some type of wealth for yourself. Try to have an understanding. If you're going to get married, vet your women, understand who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with. Start off a situation as friends, more or less. Stop going on dates with these women. Stop going on dates with these men so fast. Get an understanding who they are. Talk to them on the phone. Do something old back in the day. All these picture takings and going out to eat and showing all this stuff. That's cool to sit here and say, we went out to Ruth Chris and check out my plate. And the next day you can't talk to the woman because she ghosts you after taking her to a nice restaurant. Or you sit there, you're dealing with a man, you ultimately say he's a good guy, he's spending money, nice car, you sleep with him, and then turn around, he ghosts you because that's all he wanted. You didn't vet him long enough. You didn't know who you were dealing with, what you're dealing with. All you knew from the aspect, this guy had money and you wanted some of his money. And from the women aspect as well, guys that sit there saying she's cute, she's hot, I'm going to make her my girl. And ultimately, she wasn't into you that way. There's certain women that show you the signs, but you're going to look past that because of, how pretty she is. And I've always said, if you deal with the women and, ultimately you get played because you're getting your feelings involved and you're not dealing in logic and facts, if you like it, I love it, man. There's a saying, don't get caught with the banana in the tailpipe. And that's just what it is. Once again, peace to the chat. Everybody has came through. Glad you hit the like button. And if you shared, thank you. And also, as well, I've always said in a lot of my streams, man, create some type of generational wealth, starting business right now during COVID is, the best time for a lot of people to start looking over their finances, seeing what things they can cut, seeing what things they can actually, multiply and make it beneficial for you. So once again, peace to the chat, everybody that came through, peace to the people that come on the replay, Replay Nation. And once again, like I always say, we gone.